Everybody who grew up in San Diego in the 2000s knew of the Bum Fight series. A film featuring two homeless guys beating the shit out of each other, a funny crackhead from Las Vegas, teenage fights all over East County, and the overall realities of street life. It gained nationwide notoriety and spawned intense waves of controversy. As the years went by, Bum Fights found its way onto YouTube, where it still remains popular. It's been 17 years since the first Bum Fights came out, and about 19 years since it began filming. Most people who watch Bum Fights on YouTube are unaware of how old it actually is. So whatever happened to the producers and the stars of Bum Fights? Well, I've got some good news, some bad news, and, well, no news. Bum Fights was filmed back in the early 2000s, and video quality back then isn't as great as it is today, so please excuse some of the low quality video you're going to see. First, let's begin with the guy who started it all, Ryan McPherson. Ryan McPherson grew up in La Mesa and attended Grossmont High School. In the late 90s, he befriended the two bums featured in Bum Fights, Rufus Hanna and Donnie Brennan. In 1999, Ryan and his best friend Daniel Tanner began production on Bum Fights and finished it by 2001. After Ty Beeson took control of Bum Fights in 2002, he went on to make a spiritual sequel called In Decline, It's Worse Than You Think, a film very similar to Bum Fights in many regards and respects. Contrary to popular belief, Ryan was not involved in the making of Bum Fights 2, 3, and 4. However, some of the footage used in the later movies was shot by him during the filming of Bum Fights 1. In Bum Fights 2, he can be seen standing next to Jay during Bling's rap scene.
Mr. Ross, do you have any further questions?
Now, I'm not going to go into detail about Ryan and Daniel's legal trouble and court case because it would make the video way longer than it needs to be, but we all know they were both arrested and given a short jail sentence after they failed to abide by the court's ruling. After he got out of jail, Ryan left San Diego and moved to Vegas, where he continued to make films. He went on to produce music videos and documentary films about many different people and topics. In this video, released in 2008, he talks about government tyranny and admits it was a mistake making Bum Fights.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, there was really nothing holding me to Bum Fights, like there was to In Decline. You know, there was no passion there. It was something I did when I was a kid. It was something that we put out, and it blew up in our face, and it became this huge, ridiculous thing. And so when it all came crashing down, as far as the law was concerned, I never felt like I needed to stand up and fight for it. I felt like it would be foolish and actually kind of embarrassing to try to legitimize something like Bum Fights. You know, while we should have the freedom to release things like that, I would feel like an asshole trying to justify the existence of something like Bum Fights. I feel like there's other creative and constructive ways to get your message out there. And by the time the whole court case came around and I had to look at what it was I created as a 15-year-old, I was 21. You know, I had grown up quite a bit, and I had changed my views and my opinions and my methods, and so it was a whole other set of beliefs for me by then. When they wanted to put me in jail for it, I was already on to the next stage of my life.
Ryan's name was in the news again in November 2014 when he and Daniel Tanner were questioned by police in Thailand for attempting to ship human remains back to the U.S. As soon as the Thai police issued warrants for their arrest, they escaped into Cambodia and then secretly returned to the U.S. a few months later. In 2015, Ryan and his buddies rebooted In Decline, and the group began making videos again, sometimes promoting their anarchist and, at times, far-left political beliefs. In 2016, some people and even news articles claimed that he was responsible for the Emperor Has No Balls displays, large, naked, ugly statues of Trump that In Decline placed in big liberal cities like New York, San Francisco, LA, Seattle, and Cleveland. However, these rumors are unconfirmed as I cannot find any solid evidence of Ryan's direct involvement. Ryan keeps information about his personal life private, so it's hard to determine his exact whereabouts, but it is confirmed that he works for a production company in Vegas. As of 2018, it's very likely that he still makes videos, is still involved with Indecline, and probably still lives in Las Vegas. Indecline, however, is not shy about their whereabouts. They are still very active and they regularly upload videos to YouTube. I'll link their channel in the description. One of my personal favorite videos that Indecline made in the years following Bum Fights is a video called The Freight. In this video, Ryan and Daniel hop trains across country on both Union Pacific and BNSF intermodal freight routes. So if you're a fan of Bum Fights and Indecline, I suggest you check it out. The main star of the first Bum Fights movie, Rufus the Superstar Stunt Bum, otherwise known as Rufus Hanna, was the one who turned his life around the most after the film. After Bum Fights was filmed, Rufus went back to the streets for a short time. While he was rummaging through a dumpster in El Cajon, a local businessman named Barry Soper helped him get his life back together.
I dumpster and find a whole bag of clean socks. I think, oh, thank you God.
While searching through this San Carlos dumpster 4 years ago, Rufus found something else he's now thankful for too.
Inside the dumpster, a head comes out. Really startled me. That happened to be Rufus Hanna.
He met Barry Soper.
After Rufus sobered up, Soper hired him as a painter for his landscaping business. He later went on to be a real estate property manager.
He's Barry's property manager, making an honest living and living an honest life.
Some point after 2007, Rufus became an advocate for homeless people and began touring high schools across the country to raise homelessness awareness and teach kids not to go down the path of alcoholism. In 2010, Rufus released a best-selling book named A Bum Deal. In this book, he tells about his experiences from bum fights and the transformation of his life after becoming sober.
His journey from homeless alcoholic to productive citizen.
I like to say sometimes it's like day and night. It changed my life.
A Bum Deal is getting nationwide attention. The authors hope it brings positive attention to the nagging problem of homelessness.
Just take time and speak to that person, just don't ignore them like they're invisible, I've had that happen to me, and it's not a good feeling.
Hanna has been sober for 8 years, has a job, an apartment, and a new wife. He says his friend and mentor helped make it happen.
Tragically, on October 4th, 2017, Rufus was killed in a semi-truck accident in his hometown of Swainsboro, Georgia. Mr. Soper, and everybody who knew Rufus, was devastated by his passing. It was also a little hard for me making Rufus's segment for this video. The second bum in the videos, Donnie, a Vietnam vet, suffered the most during the making of Bum Fights. After a broken leg, tattooed on the forehead, stomach, and arms, and being publicly humiliated, Donnie also turned his life around, although it took him longer than Rufus to do it. When I talked to Donnie on the trolley on my way to an Aztec game back in 2011, he told me he has an apartment in El Cajon and is in the process of getting the disgusting tattoos removed. Donnie doesn't use social media, so it's hard, if not impossible, to track his current whereabouts. When I spoke to him, he didn't even know what YouTube is. Donnie is very nice and kind-hearted, and it honestly makes me angry and a little sad to think such horrible things could happen to such a nice guy. At the time this video was uploaded, Donnie's current whereabouts are unknown. But comments posted online from people who claim to know Donnie say he still lives in the apartment in El Cajon. I hope that's true, because Donnie doesn't deserve to be homeless.
He wanted to pull it out. We just filmed it.
Whatever happened to Ty Beeson, the guy who was hired to promote the film and went on to make volumes 2, 3, and 4? Well, not much is known about him, other than his outlandish media appearances defending bum fights from both liberal and conservative media back in the early 2000s.
We're sending things to Istanbul, Turkey, to Tokyo, to all over Europe.
In 2006, he appeared on the Dr. Phil show to promote Bum Fights 4. During the show, he hilariously trolled Dr. Phil by shaving his head and bragging about bum fights to intentionally upset his audience.
I've made multi-millions off the Bum Fights video series. I'm not surprised at my success. It's a sick world.
Stop the tape. Stop the tape. I don't want to talk to you.
Feeling butthurt, Dr. Phil kicked him off the show, stating that he refuses to publicize bum fights.
And I refuse to publicize that. I'm just not gonna...
Ironically, Dr. Phil actually publicized bum fights better than Ty himself ever could. After Dr. Phil, Ty laid low for a while, until 2010, when a video of him boxing was released on YouTube. He hasn't been seen or heard of since. And it's likely that Ty Beeson isn't even his real name.
And you're not using your real name, and I wonder why that is.
Well, no, Ty Beeson is my real name. I'm a film student out of the USC, and it took 3 years to put together the footage for the bum fights, and now it's out.
And now the police come calling.
Well,
the third star of the film, the only one that starred in all 4 bum fights movies, everybody's favorite crackhead, Bling Bling, whose real name is Michael, is a funny gangsta bum that Ryan met on the strip during a trip to Vegas. He quickly befriended the bum fights producers.
Why are you worried about us? Just worry about your game. Are you running from somebody when you don't want to be on film?
According to Bling, he has traveled across the galaxy and conducted business with many alien species.
You go to 3 encounters. Close encounters of the first kind, close encounters of the second kind, and close encounters of the third kind. You see, I had all 3.
His favorite hobby, of course, is smoking crack.
By the smell of it, you can tell if it's good crack or bad crack. Bling Bling expertise in crack smoking. Good crack. Bling Bling's crack pipe.
So what happened to Bling after the last Bum Fights movie was released in 2006? Well, for a while, he went back to live in the streets of Vegas. Then sometime in 2013, he moved to LA and began performing his raps at the beaches for tips. Sometime around 2015, Bling relocated to San Francisco because of their weed laws, according to him. He then began to perform his raps to tourists near the Financial District and Fisherman's Wharf. As of 2018, Bling lives in the Bay Area, still waiting for that starship to take him away. Bling is actually fan-friendly, so if you see him in the streets and ask him for a picture, he'll most likely be cool with it.
You're gonna hear this, however coming, you're gonna hear this, however coming, you're gonna hear this, let me tell you something about them, and move, the motherfucking, I'm gonna put you in the grave, kill the family, it's so true, you better.
The Bum Hunter, played by an actor named Todd Richard Lewis, had a short career in the industry, and not much is known about him other than his role as the Bum Hunter. It's funny because this guy ran for governor of California in 2003. After Bum Fights in 2006, Todd Lewis collaborated with O.J. Simpson to direct a series of shorts called Juiced, in which O.J. would go around and prank people around Las Vegas. He hasn't done anything since, and his current whereabouts are unknown. Well, that's all I can dig up. If you have any bum fight stories or know more, or if I got anything wrong, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Seem to find their way into my head, whispering what other people said to me. I try to ignore what they say, but these voices, they won't go away. They won't go away. They won't go away. They won't go away. These voices, they come from
This is the camera is me, I'm Bum Fights.
and try to bring me down to earth. But they're so boring. They don't want me to hope and don't want me to dream. Dreams a waste of time. Time is running out. That's what they say. I don't wanna listen, but they won't go away.
No dildos allowed on the go-karts?
No dildos allowed on the go-karts.
Johnny, was there any dildos allowed on those go-karts?
No dildos. I didn't see any.
Definitely no dildos allowed.
Definitely no dildos allowed.
The only dildos I saw was the one that just escorts us to the door.
Number one, I wholeheartedly support the concept. Those young men are brilliant. In fact, I'm purchasing one of those videos myself.